scene, I'm drop. If I ain't got a weapon, I'ma pick up a rock. And when I bust your ass, I'm gonna continue to rock. Get your ass on the wall with your 2 left feet. It's real easy, just follow the beat. Don't let that fire girl pass.
So in the past few months, I've kind of talked about finance on and off, and it's always been kind of like indirectly. Usually I'll be talking about something else, and then I just out of nowhere kind of start like going into a tangent about it. And I know there's a portion of the people that are watching these videos that really fuck with that type of stuff, and there's another portion that they're not a fan of that stuff, right? And it can come off as like super messy. So I just decided this video, I'm just gonna only be talking about that shit, right? There's not gonna be any topic that I diverge into. It's only going to be on like economics and whatnot, because clearly I've been wanting to talk about this, and I think it would just be better if I just like get it all out in one video. Well, at least some of it. I could go on about this shit forever. But yeah, this video is going to be just like very basic level. I'm going to try to like work from the ground up. I think this is going to be just like a new series. I don't know what I'm going to title it, but you get the idea. If you want access into the equity market, all you have to do is find a broker, and that's pretty much it. All a broker is pretty much a middleman between you and you buying contracts from these companies, right? It's important to understand that these brokers like Robinhood, TD Ameritrade, Schwab, E-Trade, the list goes on, they have as much of a connection with these companies as something like Amazon does when you buy something off Amazon, right? Amazon is the middleman. I know they create a few products, but at their core, they're just really creating an open market that allows like convenience for the consumer and whoever is selling stuff, right? Or the producer, right? But yeah, to get access into the equity market, all you have to do is make an account. Most accounts start off as a level 1 account. And as a level 1 account, you can buy equity. And that's, in my opinion, all you need to do, right? To upgrade your account to like level 2 and level 3, which allows you to trade in the futures market or the options market, you usually have to have a certain amount of requirements, and that's just an entirely different topic. In my opinion, I would stay in the equity market. The people that have made the most money have been in the equity market, and it's not as brutal, right? So what the equity market is a marketplace for buying shares of companies, right? Now, I know it's super easy just to kind of look at it like a big horse racing game and not really kind of look into anything more than that, but I think it's one, interesting, and two, I think that it'll help you a lot if you actually understand why these companies are valued at certain prices. Why is one share of Nike worth X? Why is one share of Tesla worth Y? And the easy answer is because there's a bunch of people that are trying to buy and sell it, and there's people that are willing to buy underneath it. But it's not as simple as that. There's a huge difference between buying an ounce of gold versus buying 1,000 shares of IBM. And the main reason why is because one of those things is an asset and the other one is equity. And the difference between those things is, obviously, if you own 1 ounce of gold, you own 1 ounce of gold. If you own 1,000 shares of IBM, you have partial ownership of IBM. Now, obviously, it's not like a huge cut of the pie, you get the idea, but it's still, there's a vast difference between those two things. And obviously, that's because if you just hold 1,000 shares of IBM, you're going to be getting paid dividends, because where does the money that IBM actually makes, where does it go to? It goes to the shareholders. So even if you own just 1 share of IBM, you're going to get paid dividends usually each quarter. And how much money these companies are pulling in is the most important thing besides the price, because the price is always the most important thing. And I know when I say something like that, it sounds super vague, like how the fuck am I even supposed to use this information? Like, you can go on sec.gov and look up these companies' earnings reports, but it's hard to even digest this information, or how am I going to use it? But how most people end up using it is they compare the earnings, or the amount of money that these companies pull in comparison to other companies that work around the same field. And this is how, in my opinion, I've made quite a bit of money off this stuff. Now, if you ever want to get into this stuff, I think it's important to stress that you can't compare earnings reports from certain companies to other companies in different sectors or that are making entirely different products. It doesn't work like that, right? If you look at the price to earnings on something like Google or Facebook, it's really bad, right? Now, why does that make any sense? How are they worth so much, but the amount of money that they're actually bringing in is so little to the amount of, money that the company is actually worth? And the reason why is because most people would agree that the internet is the future. The company is worth more than the money it's bringing in because, again, it's the future, right? But if you compare that ratio, again, the price to earnings, with, let's go to a different sector, let's go into energy, right? Look at like Dominion, look at Duke, look at all these different companies that produce electricity and heat your home. You get the idea. These companies have a much more tame price to earnings ratio than the tech sector. And the reason why is because electricity is not going anywhere, right? But at the same time, dude, these companies aren't going to come out with like some brand new idea that's going to make the stock like skyrocket. It doesn't work like that, right? Google is going to keep coming out with these new products. So it's almost as if tech companies are valued at this future prospect that they're going to come out with new ideas. And they do. That's what these tech companies do over and over again. So what does that mean? Am I saying just like buy things in the energy sector? Or am I saying buy stuff like Google or Apple? You get the idea. And there's absolutely no answer to that. It all depends on how much you're willing to risk and how much growth you want on whatever position you want to make, right? Like on this topic alone, you could go on for fucking, I mean, there's entire books dedicated just to this topic, right? Because it's not as simple as like, well, this one's more safe and it's always going to steadily go up, so this one's just better. It doesn't work like that because there's another huge variable, which is time. Time has an enormous amount of value, and I'm not saying that as like some stupid quote or something vague like that. Like, time is literally worth a specific amount of money. Now, obviously, how much value, that's like an insanely difficult question. Most people measure it to the average S&P return minus inflation, or they measure it to TIPS, aka treasury bonds. Let's say hypothetically you're going to live like 90 more years from now, right? If you were to sell a contract stating that every year of your life you're going to pay whoever owns this contract $5, how much would that contract actually go for? Now, if you're really quick with math and think that it's going to be $450, you're wrong. It would not be $450. But if you like did all the math, you would be able to like specifically get to a number that it would be worth. And it wouldn't just be like 90 times $5, because there's the time element and there's many other variables that go into it. It's not as simple as just risk versus reward, or just like what is the yield you're actually going to get paid out on. There's a lot of other variables, and this topic goes on forever. But the reason why it wouldn't be worth $450 is because you're going to get paid out through the course of fucking 90 years. That's way too long, and there's going to be inflation, and it's not that ideal, right? So it'd be worth a lot less than $450. Even though, you know, technically that's what you'd be getting paid out in return. You would want much more than that. You would want interest, because technically you're loaning this person money. When you buy bonds, whatever company or whatever group that you're buying bonds from, you're loaning them money, and that's why they pay you out more than what you actually put in. They pay you a yield, or there's a discount. You get the idea. But there's time, there's risk. If you were to buy something for 90 years, I mean, who even knows what the world is going to look like in 90 years? That's like fucking, there's a risk alone with that. On top of that, you would have to look at like Dixie. Dixie is the US dollar weighted to different currencies. It just goes on indefinitely. I'm not going to touch this topic, but yeah, time has a specific value. If you're only looking for like low risk growth, then just buy bonds, right? Buy treasury bonds. You're buying bonds from the treasury. The treasury prints money. There's virtually no way you won't get paid back. If you just bought treasury bonds, you're guaranteed 100% whatever the yield is for the bonds you bought at the time of expiration. So it's not as simple as just like, well, Google is either going to grow more, or you can go with this option that's less risky. The basic idea that most people agree on is that the only thing that you know for sure is that you don't know anything for sure. And the best way to stay safe and also grow your money at the same time is to figure out what your actual goal is and create an extremely weathered portfolio, which essentially just means an extremely diverse portfolio. You want to create something that it doesn't matter what happens, you'll be safe regardless. I mean, it's just a big video game, dude. It's like a fighting game. You want to be able to, you know, risk the lowest amount possible while also having the most to gain. That's like the entire goal of the game, right? You don't want to overextend yourself. If you play League of Legends, you get the idea. Everyone's going to have their own differences in, you know, how crazy they want to be or how tame they want to be. There's certain people that are very modest, and there's other people that, you know, they're a little bit more hungry. No one knows the future at the end of the day. Don't bother looking up, you know, oh, what do I buy? If anyone knew what they were going to buy, if your fucking college professor is telling you to buy X or Y and he was that confident on it, he would have just bought it and not been preaching about it. If financial advisors were that good in the market, they would just be in the market and not selling advice. You get the idea? If you really want to get into it, really just ask yourself, what products do you personally believe have longevity? It's really all it takes, man. Like, don't underestimate your own personal experience, because I guarantee you, whoever's watching this video, that experience is worth a lot more than you think. Massive corporations will go and survey people. People want to know what is cool and what's not cool. And I know that, like, the average person that was at Starbucks that had like an iPhone 5 years ago, like typical white girl. Yeah, even though I think that she didn't know like anything about, I don't know, fucking bond yields and different shit like that. If back then you like isolated her and said, okay, you have to put like $100 into this market, which, what do you actually use that you think is going to be around in 5 years? What do you think is cool? They would have made money off that. My brother is like huge on this, right? And dealing with people like this can kind of piss me off sometimes. There's a lot of people that think that the trend is the enemy. They want to like try to beat the market. There is no beating the market. The people that have made the most money ride the market. They don't try to sit there and predict that one thing that happens in fucking every 8 years. They're people that just ride the trends. And obviously they have like decent risk management. But if you look at like Warren Buffett, like where he's made the most money, it's by riding trends. So yeah, the trend is not the enemy. The trend is your friend. You want to be on the right side of trends with good risk management. What products do you use that you think is pretty good, right? Which companies do you think is going to keep growing? And then look into a little bit of the number stuff and don't put too much money in. Don't fucking like always have a plan B no matter what. Yeah, that's really all it is at the end of the day. This topic goes down indefinitely. People have dedicated their entire lives to this topic, so there's never going to be a shortage of people trying to tell you what the winning strategy is and how this strategy has no risk, or how if you buy this, you're going to be stupid rich and you'd be an idiot not to put all your money into this or that. Just always know that, again, no one knows the future. There is no completely fail-safe plan. There's pros and cons with everything. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. This has been a fucking serious video, but clearly I've been wanting to talk about this. I think it's pretty fun talking about this stuff. The only issue I really have is I know I've said this in the past, but it's kind of hard to make them like a lot of jokes about it. I'm just curious to see how many people want videos like this and how many people don't, because I don't want the channel to be too serious, but yeah, this is a fun topic. But yeah, tell me if you guys want more stuff like this. Appreciate all the support, and yeah, I think I'm gonna get something to eat. I don't know what I'm gonna get. Maybe I'm thinking McDonald's. Yeah, I'm gonna get a sausage egg McMuffin. Anyways, good luck everyone. And also, speaking of luck, if you want better luck, check out Always Lucky hoodies. Luck is more important than all this bullshit that I just talked about. Luck beats pretty much all the intelligence on this planet put together. That's not an exaggeration. Nothing is more important than luck. So if you want better luck, yeah, get a hoodie, bro. Because if you're unlucky, I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how smart you think you are, you will get fucked. Like, luck is the most important attribute. This is like not even a discussion. Luck is everything, and if you want better luck, you better get one of those hoodies. Like, bro, I just gave you a free fucking lesson. What the fuck is this? Have a good day. Good luck.
I would love people saying, "Oh, Leafy, come back." I would love to see Leafy come back and try to